If y'all like oysters the way I do, take a second and watch this video because I might be able to save your life one day down the road. These right here, these are wild caught oysters. These don't come from a farm. These come out of the mud out here in the bay where I live at. We live up in North Florida. So if you're gonna go out and catch wild oysters, look on the FWC website and make sure you're in an open area. They do have open and closed waters for recreational wild caught oyster harvesting. Oysters hold a very rare bacteria, just like any raw fish. Oysters claim the lives of just about 100 Americans a year eating raw oysters. Now, I can tell you how to prevent that or bring the chances down to almost zero. So when you get an oyster, it don't matter if you're going to eat it in 45 minutes, an hour, put them on ice. Always put them on ice. Don't put them in the bottom of your boat. Don't put them in a dry 5-gallon bucket. Bring you some ice, bury them down in there, put them on layers, whatever you want to do, and keep the mud on them. Now, when you're getting ready to eat them, spray them down. I just sprayed these down probably 5 minutes ago. This right here, this is called the tail end of an oyster. You see that groove? I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little hole right there. That's the tail end. This right here, this is called the razor edge. This is the top of the oyster right here. These have got to be a minimum of 3 inches. So if you go out there and you find one that's 2.5, you know, just under, don't keep it. That's how our waters around here get clean, they get filtered. That's how we have good fisheries up here in North Florida. Now, another important thing is too, you see how that water down there, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's a nice clear liquid. That's another sign of a good oyster. If it's a bad oyster, that'll be milky. It'll look like watered down milk in there. You don't want that. Now, I'll show y'all another indication on this oyster. I didn't pick up any that are bad that I can tell offhand. And a quick way to tell that, if you pick up an oyster and you see this line right here, that's the separation from the bottom half to the top half of the oyster. You'll see that along both sides of it and through the tail. Now, if you pick up an oyster and you squeeze at the very top of it and you don't see any bubbles, you don't hear any air come out of it, that's good. That's an airtight oyster. It won't be milky on the inside. It'll be nice and salty. And you know you got yourself a good oyster.